Hello, my beautiful fellow entrepreneurs. Welcome back to another episode of your Business on Purpose podcast. My name is Dawnette Palmore, and I am your host. And we are talking about money systems. Two episodes again. Episode 145, we talked about money tracking systems and spending plans. Today, I want to talk about income allocation systems. And it's not that you have to have, spreadsheets for each one of this. This is all going to be in one spreadsheet, but allocating. So I hit a little bit on allocating in episode 145, but let's dive a little bit into it because this is really where some magic happens, right? Because this is where we tell our money to go and when to go, right? So when we think about allocating our money, we have bills that are due on different days, right? Well, we need to see what money we're going to have to cover those bills and when we're going to have it. If we don't have this in a spreadsheet where we can see it, it can be messy. We could end up paying late fees, which costs more money. We could end up, ruining our credibility with our vendors, or even our subcontractors if we're not paying them on time. So, and it's not that you're not trying to pay them on time, but if our money's in chaos mode, it's kind of hard to do that. So one of the things you want to make sure, we talked about in episode 145 as well, is know what your business costs to run. What are your monthly expenses? And when I say that, I also want to say that I have my clients look at their money on an annual basis, not a monthly basis. And the reason that I say this is because it's actually how we spend money. And if you stop and think about it, we have things like insurance, membership, um, taxes, things that don't come up every single month, that maybe sometimes we forget about. That could be a problem when they come up because it could be a pretty big chunk of change. So if we look at our whole year and say, okay, oh, in March I have my insurance is due, and it's due every quarter. Uh, March, April, depending on how you file taxes, those taxes are due, and you know you should obviously be talking with a tax professional about taxes and how you should pay them. But if you have quarterly taxes that you pay, when is that due? How much is it that due? And so you want to go through every single month and say what's due that month isn't that isn't just monthly, but like I said, what is there that's not monthly? That's maybe 1 to 4 times a year. You add all of that up and you divide it by 12. Okay, then that's going to become a line item on your spending plan. So if you need to pay $2,000 of taxes, or let's say you need to pay, um, let's make it easy, right? $3,000 every quarter in taxes, then you need to put aside $1,000 every month. And we can go deep into what a spending plan looks like and how to do that. But that's what I call a short-term savings. You're going to put it in your short-term savings account. And the reason I say this is because what's going to happen is when your quarterly tax is due, you're going to say, oh, crap, I don't have the money to pay this. But if you put a little money aside every month, you divide it by what you need, the total divided by the 12, and you're putting away every month, you're going to be like, oh, I have the money. I'm just going to go pay this. This is great, right? Think about that. How stressful is it when it comes up? You're just like, oh my gosh, I don't have the money for that. What am I going to do? How am I going to do this? And then you're going to incur taxes, not taxes, you're going to incur penalties and late fees versus, oh, this bill's due. Great. Here's the money I saved for it. Huge difference, right? Wow. That's like, I can feel the emotion going through that because I know how that feels because I've been there. And I know how it feels to have the money and just to pull it aside. To put it aside and then to be able to pull it and just pay the bill. It's amazing. Um, so also I want to say that in Your expenses is paying yourself. And if you're not paying yourself, that's a whole nother conversation we need to have. You need to be paying yourself. Even if it's something little, you need to start, your business needs to give you something. Even if it's $100, you got to be giving yourself something. Um, but you want to include that. And, if your business is at a point where, it can pay you a full on paycheck, fantastic. And now you're saying, well, how much do I need? Well, you're going to have to do a personal spending plan, right? So you're going to apply the same concepts we're talking about to personal finances. What are your expenses? Look at the whole year. And in your personal, you're going to be including holidays and birthdays and anniversaries and all those things. So you want to, again, go through each month, find out what you have, and do the same kind of planning that we're talking about with our business. Be intentional about it. Also, you want to think about building reserves, which you guys have heard me called Hills and Valley Fund. Uh, you know, Sometimes people don't pay us on time. Sometimes things happen. Sometimes emergencies happen. Sometimes life happens. But if we can build up reserves, we can build up the resiliency so that when things happen, we are prepared, right? I feel like when we're prepared, most things don't happen. It's kind of odd, but that's what happens. And then, of course, like I said, planning for taxes. So talk to your tax professional. Um, it's going to be so much easier if you know exactly what you need, because then you can start planning for what you want, right? For expansion, for growth, for new equipment, for more marketing, whatever it is. Once you start getting this rhythm down, you're intentional and you know, okay, I'm making this much money. These are my expenses, and I'm going to have this left over. This is what I get to do with it. And you get to allocate it, right? It's a bunch of buckets that we get to have. Even dreaming for our business, having goals and aspirations for our business, right? Just like we do for our personal life. We have to have those in our business. And we can plan for those with our money to be able to accomplish those um, through a spending plan and allocating and paying attention and being intentional. And then next, so in episode 149, I'm going to talk about money dates with yourself or your business partner. We're going to be talking about that. But I want to talk about also this 5-day challenge I'm having, because I think it's going to be incredible. I can't wait to do this with you guys. I think I might do it often, but we're going to see. We're going to launch this 5-day having more cash flow in your business, right? Fix your cash flow in 5 days and finally keep more of what you earn. We're going to go dive deeper into knowing your numbers, getting paid faster, increasing revenue without more work, cutting cost without cutting growth, building a long-term cash flow plan. So to get more information about that, just go into the show notes, or you can go to my website, yourmoneyonpurpose.com. Go to the show notes, hit the link, and sign up for this challenge. It's going to be a great time, and it's going to be really eye-opening. It's going to be intentional. It's going to bring freedom, and it's going to bring financial resilience. And I can't wait to be there with you. So remember, conducting business on purpose not only fuels success, but also propels you towards a purposeful life. Thank you again for being here. I appreciate your presence so much. And until next time, embrace your journey of intentional business and purposeful living.